stood on a stand in the nice comfy seats supplied by Frasers of Ellon for an interview today, and looking forward to the big game on Sunday against Glasgow Women at Pittodrie. The second game at Pittodrie. Loren, how are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, excited. The good memories from the last time at Pittodrie. Although we got a defeat against Rangers, it was a big occasion. So we've had a wee taste of it before, so I think we know what we're going into this time. So yeah, I think the squad's just really up for it this weekend.
I guess it'll be different being the second time around now. It was quite an emotional night for some players who've been in the team like yourself for a long time and who've always thought this maybe wouldn't ever happen. So maybe with the emotion taken aside, will it be a different kind of feeling for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think we know what it will be about. I think maybe we're just like overcome emotions because we were surprised about the whole occasion last time. So hopefully it's a bigger crowd or the same amount roughly. So like we'll know what we're coming into, and we feel it's a game we can win definitely this time. So that puts a different perspective and maybe a wee bit of pressure on ourselves this time round too.
And Fran, it was an emotional night for maybe different reasons for yourself last time around because you weren't able to play in the game through injury. I think I spoke to you on the pitch just before the game and it was kind of just kicking in at that point, wasn't it, that you weren't going to play?
Yeah, totally.
How much are you looking forward to finally getting a game here tonight?
Buzzing. Obviously, last time I tore my hamstring about, I think it was a month before Pittodrie, and the first thing I asked the physio was, will I get to play at Pittodrie? And kind of geared myself up that I wouldn't be. So to get to the opportunity to actually finally go on to Pittodrie, and obviously it's a big game as well, both teams looking for their first win. So it'll be a big game, as Loren said. We're hoping for a big crowd, if not bigger than last time, and put on a good performance for the fans.
I guess you got a different perspective of the game last time as well because you were up in the stands with the supporters. How big a difference did you feel from the supporters being in the ground to the players?
Yeah, it was so different. It was one of the first games I've watched from the stand, and it's different when you're in the stand than actually being a player in the pitch, because obviously you're a player in the pitch, you know how the game's flowing, and when you're sitting in the stand you're actually one of the fans. So I found myself getting up, cheering on everyone, and it was just so good to see everyone playing really well as well.
And Loren mentioned the fans a couple of times there, and a really good crowd last time, and there's so much youngsters in the crowd, and I think it almost took all of us by surprise at the end when they all stayed behind to kind of speak to the players. How big a moment was that?
Yeah, it was massive. We were there for a couple of hours after the game, and it was a Wednesday night. It was quite late on, so credit to them. So it's a Sunday lunchtime game, so hopefully even more youngsters come along this Sunday and get inspired by us as a team.
I think as well, when they actually say your name, you kind of think, oh, it's a big deal for them. Like, you don't kind of think Aberdeen Women, we're not as famous as the men are, but to hear the fans actually saying, oh, Fran, Loren, can I get a signature from you? It was like really touching.
And I guess that's one of the big things of having games at Pittodrie, isn't it? It gives you that extra bit of exposure, and players and supporters even can get to know the players' names and get to know who the players are.
Yeah, obviously we've got our own fan base at Balmoral, different to the men, but it was good to see so many that even the men's fans were starting to come and support the women as well at Pittodrie, so that was really good. Hopefully we'll get more this time round.
And in terms of when you're out on the pitch, how big a impact does it have when you've got fans in the stand and that you can hear cheering you on?
Yeah, I think especially if you can hear, like for me, if I'm going and attacking the goal, you can hear people going, go on Fran, and it really does lift you up to know that the fans are behind you, they know who you are, they want you to go and score. It's a good home feel when you've got fans that want you to win as well.
I guess that the flip side of that could be, it can add a little bit more pressure, and obviously it hasn't been the start of the season, Loren, that we were looking for in terms of results. Will there be more pressure going into the game on Sunday because of the form, or will that maybe help in a way because it's here and the big occasion will maybe take the mind off of that a wee bit?
Yeah, I think we've spoken about pressure as a team for a couple of weeks now because some people are feeling it, some people aren't. I've played through quite a few bad seasons playing for Aberdeen ladies, so unfortunately I'm used to the bad times.
Yeah, I was quite lucky. I came in when we started winning things.
But it's just a moment. I think everyone forgets last season we went through a wee run of a bad period, but unfortunately it just gets swept under the rug because the result at the end of the season was really good. So we're hoping that this is what's going to happen this season. So we're planning to kick-start our season. It might be a bit late, but we're planning to kick-start our season on Sunday. But I think you come to Pittodrie, you play for Aberdeen Women, pressure is a privilege, to be honest. So we should take it like that and just give the fans what they deserve, and what we really want is 3 points.
Yeah.
In front of opponents on Sunday, haven't had a great start to the season themselves, having only just been promoted, but it's not a team that you can take lightly. They've got some good players, and I'm sure the occasion as well will make them raise their game.
Yeah, exactly. You can never write off the team that's at the bottom of the league. They always come and raise their game. They've got nothing to lose being at the bottom of the league. They yeah, they might be the underdogs, but they might go and give a shock result. So you can never write off the bottom league teams. Obviously, as I said, both teams are looking for their first win, so hopefully that'll gear us up as well, especially being on Pittodrie pitch, just to go and get the 3 points, get the job done.
We spoke about the importance of occasions like this to bring more fans into the game and into the matches every Sunday. Obviously, the Euros in this summer was a huge event. Because it was in England, it wasn't too far away. It felt that it was kind of close to home. Do you think that's had a really positive impact for Scottish football as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think like they're our neighbouring country, aren't they? And women's football, I don't think England-Scotland thing's quite as
big as the men.
Not as big as the men. So I found myself even supporting England because you knew the benefit that it was going to have so close to home to this country. Unfortunately, Scotland weren't at it, but I think that's why we all got behind England. And yeah, they sold out stadiums. They won the Euros, obviously, but ever since they've been selling out Wembley. So yeah, I think there is a massive effect there. We got a good crowd here last season before it happened, and we played at Ibrox, and there was a massive crowd there.
It was just under 5,000.
Couldn't hear yourself think at Ibrox either, so we're hoping that happens on Sunday.
Yeah, and those occasions as well, you hope to bring the fans back in, and even the last time around we never got the result we wanted, but I think the occasion in itself is probably going to lend itself to people coming back to the game. You mentioned the lunchtime kick-off as well. Kick-offs are usually later on a Sunday. How do you feel about the earlier kick-off? Does that have any impact on your day of preparing for the game?
Personal preference, love it. We love an early kick-off. It's just that's the way it happens at Cove for us at the moment. So I think, yeah, there's not much football on this weekend in regards to men's football. So 1 o'clock kick-off, it's a Sunday. There's no excuse, hopefully, for nobody to come. That's what I'll be posting on social media anyway. So hopefully, yeah, like if we got 1,800 plus on a Wednesday night previously at Pittodrie, hopefully we can easily smash that record.
And how important is it to you as players, the kind of growth of the game off the pitch? Because obviously you've got your own playing side of things to concentrate on, but how important do you take it upon yourselves to kind of grow the fan base and try and get more people involved?
Yeah, I think it's very important. As I've said before, there is a different fan base for the women than there is the men. Obviously, it's a bit more family orientated with the women. So, for example, our families, and there's a lot of kids that come as well. For example, a lot of the kids from my camp, they all come as well. And then they tell their pals and they all come. And there's a lot of kids from schools nearby as well that come, and like the girls teams, Aberdeen girls teams, the West Dyke girls teams, they all come. But it's not just girls as well, it's boys, which I think as well is very important to notice, that there are young boys that are coming to watch the women, which I like to think is a good thing as well, because they're not just being pushed to come to the men and watch, they're actually wanting to come and watch the women as well.
You mentioned your training camps there as well, and that's obviously your job out with Aberdeen. How important do you think is it from that side of things for young boys to have female coaches as well as male coaches?
Yeah, I get a lot of messages from parents saying, oh, is the camp for boys too? Because it's predominantly myself and the other Aberdeen women that come and coach. And I say, well, majority of our kids that come are actually boys. We're trying to get more girls in. There's still such a huge demand for girls to come in. So it's good that we've got that environment where girls can come in, but equally it's overrun with boys, and they don't care if you're a female coach or a male coach. They actually quite like the banter of a female coach being able to go and make you and score, and they're all up in each other's faces about it.
And I guess, Loren, that's something that's kind of changed from when you first started in the women's game. There wasn't the kind of coverage there is, the media coverage there is now, and there wasn't the same kind of feeling towards the women's game of positivity as there has been over the past few years.
Yeah, totally. I think it's just grown massively, hasn't it, over the years, and it's just still propelling at a ridiculous place, if I'm being honest. But social media maybe it was there, but it wasn't massive. So I think every young kid is engaged, unfortunately, in good or bad ways in social media. But I think it's about normalising that young kids go to football. It's not women's football or it's men's football. If I grew up knowing there wasn't much difference, I think kids are coming to our games that are 5, 6 year old. Hopefully they don't see a difference in the future to going to a men's game or a women's game. There's hopefully no stigma behind any of it. So I think that's what we want to grow into the future. And it doesn't matter if it's boys or girls that want to play football afterwards, as long as the game continues to grow.
Yeah, it's grown massively. Like when I first started football, I was 12 because I didn't know that girls' football was out there because, as Loren said, social media wasn't really behind it. Obviously, social media has grown massively, not just with football, but in terms of social media. So getting more women's social media out there, obviously with England doing well too, it brings the younger girls in, obviously from a younger age, 5 or 6. When I was younger, that wasn't a thing, 5 or 6 year old girls playing football.
And having seen a lot of the young girls in the stands at the last game, and hopefully again on Sunday, how important would it be, or how big a deal would it be to you if in the years down the line one of them is playing for Aberdeen and could say, oh, I remember coming to watch the team when they played at Pittodrie?
Exactly. Well, that's what they're there to watch for. They now having the women playing at Pittodrie, they can come watch. Obviously, they can go watch at Balmoral too, but it's a big occasion at Pittodrie. They can sit in the stand and say, Mum, Dad, I want to go and play on Pittodrie pitch in a few years, and that would be amazing to see.